any notes, but I really don't need any notes. You know, I'm more of like a vibe bringer. I
Yeah.
don't bring notes, I bring vibes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone does their part.
What's that?
Everyone does their part.
Yeah. You guys bring notes like a bunch of nerds, like a bunch of Donatellos, and I'll bring the vibes like Raphael, you know?
Is this us starting or no?
Yeah, this is a
we're live.
intro.
Look at that.
Yeah, we've been live, bro. So welcome to the Nightcats Salsa Squad Movie Club with me, Ramon Villalobos, world-renowned comic artist Ramon Villalobos, and Nick Barber.
World renowned.
No, I don't know about that. And
Self renowned?
yeah, definitely self-renowned. Definitely New Zealand's finest, you know?
Oh.
And Tamra Bond villain.
Yep. Here. The colors. Do they?
Okay. I don't need your whole life story, I just need you to introduce yourself. So, tonight we just finished watching, while we've been working, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
What is it called?
It's called 2. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
Nice.
What do you guys... I mean, look, here's the thing. Nick was such a bitch about this movie. He was not feeling it the whole time. Was just whining and complaining about, I don't like this movie. Why do we watch this movie? Nick, you chose this movie.
Yeah, I used to love this movie, but you know, you should. It's kind of true that you shouldn't go back and revisit things you really held dear in your childhood, because a lot of the time they disappoint.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is one of those things where, like, I hadn't seen it in years, like, probably since I was a kid or a teenager. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, like, I didn't think it was good. Like, at this point, I was like, yeah, it's probably trash. But, like, watching it again was just, like, fucking embarrassed. And I feel like I owe my parents an apology for, like, ever having them, like, drag them there with me.
I gotta be honest with you guys, I did not feel that way. I thought it was a pretty good movie. All things considered, like, I don't know what you guys were expecting, but, like, it was pretty good. It looked pretty nice. I was pretty impressed by like the turtle costumes, and like the guys playing the turtles, their body language was on point the entire time. Master puppeteers, R.I.P. Jim Henson.
Yeah.
You know, this movie was dedicated to Jim Henson. You know.
Yeah, I was impressed with how well the costumes actually like held up. They actually looked pretty good.
But the musculature on them was pretty sweet.
I think they're okay.
What?
Did I ever tell you guys my story about that? Speaking of Ninja Turtles musculature?
No.
No.
I feel like
I told you the story, but I'll tell it again for the sake of the podcast.
Thank you.
Not podcast.
You definitely haven't told us the story before.
When I was in primary school, so first of all, I was a huge Ninja Turtles fan. Like I was in the fan club and stuff like that.
Was there a card?
And growing
situation?
up, there was, I think, and there was like you would get like a newsletter, and you would get like badges and things. Like I had masks and all kinds of stuff. And
nerd.
So one time I was in primary school, and we had like so I was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old or something like that. We had like a dress up thing, probably for Halloween or something like that at the school.
Yeah, sure.
And because I love Ninja Turtles, my mum was like, oh look, I know this lady who's like a costume person, or like I don't know what she was, like costume person, or she's just into sewing or something, but she's like, I can get her to make you a Ninja Turtles costume.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, this is going to be incredible. Like in my head, I'm picturing me turning up at school.
Yeah.
In one of those movie quality Ninja Turtles suits with the full
like
musculature, just that kind of stride they have in those suits, just walking into school, everyone would just be losing their minds, like, what the fuck, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And what it ended up being was just basically like green pajamas with like a cloth like eye mask thing. There was just nothing.
Yeah.
It was
You
just
went to school
really
and
let
nobody
down.
lost their minds.
They really didn't. They were underwhelmed, if anything.
So wait, like how did you react to that? Did you like pretend to be grateful, or were you just like, Mom, they laughed
It
at
was so
me?
long ago. Yeah, it was so long ago. I don't really remember. I just remember being disappointed, but more so because I had built up this thing in my head of looking like a character out of the movie,
Yeah.
and like how incredible that would be. But there we go.
When I was younger,
It's okay, you know.
yeah, I mean it's definitely okay, but it would have been cool if like you had like a better like ending to where like maybe you yelled at your mom, or you were laughed out of school or something. When I was younger, I remember for some reason there's just pictures of me on Easter wearing like the Ninja Turtle mask, and I remember I was like, why? Like it's Easter, it's not Halloween. Why do I have the turtle mask on? Like I had the Raphael mask, and she was like, oh, you just wore that all the time.
So is this where this comes from? Where you think you're the Raphael?
I don't think I'm the Raphael, Tamra. I am the Raphael.
Yeah, should we just get straight into that then?
Let's just get straight into it.
Which Ninja Turtle do you guys both relate to or see yourselves as?
I have actually this theory about how people who like you know how there's those like personality tests like INTJ.
Yeah.
I feel like that's bullshit, and like the real way to measure someone's personality is have them list their favorite Ninja Turtles in order of the turtles, right? And that's your personality type, because it tells you so much about a person to just say like, who's your first one, second one, third one? Because like if someone says, oh, my first one is like Michelangelo, but my second one is Leonardo, that means they're clearly way more of a Leonardo that thinks they're a Michelangelo. You see what I'm saying?
So instead of like an INTJ or something, you're like an RMDL, something like that.
I'm definitely an RLDM for sure. There's no question. That's like me through and through.
Yeah.
Because I'm cool but rude.
So you see
You know what I
yourself as
mean?
a Raphael.
But I have a lot of integrity. But I'm pretty smart, and I really, like Michelangelo's bottom of the list for me. I just don't feel like there's anything about me and Michelangelo
Really?
that mesh. You think I am?
I
You
guess
think I'm
maybe a
Michelangelo?
little.
No way, mate. Me.
Well, you do love pizza?
No, you're definitely Raphael. You're definitely Raphael, I think.
What about you, bro?
I always thought growing up that I was the most like Raphael because I'm kind of sarcastic and stuff, but
and then you met a real Raphael, and you were like, never mind.
but then you were like, you guys are saying I'm more like Michelangelo, so probably somewhere in between those two.
Yeah, you're a classic, MR. You're a classic MRLD. It's through and through, What about you, Tamra?
Well, I feel like I can't really make that choice anymore because in the movie that we just watched, I pretty much hate them all equally.
Well, in the movie, that's like picking it between like Moe, Larry, and Curly and shit. Those motherfuckers are just the Three Stooges.
Yeah.
With like real like muscles on them.
I'd say as a kid, like I was probably Michelangelo first.
Okay.
And Raphael.
Okay.
And maybe Donatello, then Leonardo. This is as a kid. Like now, I don't really have a choice. It's just there's no choice.
I feel like you're very Leonardo. You know what I mean? I feel like you're a very droll person. Like that's not even. I'm not even trying to put like any negativity on you. I'm just saying like you have certain goals that you want to accomplish. You don't like when we make jokes, you don't like it.
What?
You hate jokes.
You hate fun. You hate jokes.
You're all about work ethic.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I respect it. I'm not. Go ahead.
I walk around with 2 katanas on my back. Walk around.
You're very like. That's why.
Don't take it so hard, Tamra. We're just saying you're not a fun person.
I'm saying you're like not a fun person, and nobody really wants to be around you a lot of the time. Okay. But I mean, beyond that, like I think you're a great like person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's fine. That's great.
Yeah. So, anyways.
I appreciate it.
What was your favorite part of the movie?
Oh my God, there's so many.
Well, look, I'll tell you my favorite part because I feel like you guys are just like shitting on it, you know.
Okay.
No,
For me,
I've got one on deck ready to go.
oh, go ahead then, Nick. Go ahead.
Well, my favorite part was definitely the Pizzatopia of
Oh,
the opening.
So the very
opening
beginning,
scene, the way they portray
in the first
New
minute.
York as New York as a thriving pizza metropolis.
It was really like people of all walks of life just like enjoying pizza.
That's real life.
Yeah.
I could definitely relate to that part the most. I feel like.
That
It was like
beginning
Taxi
always
Driver,
like
but everybody was eating pizza.
the beginning always fucked me up because they have like the credits, like they have the different colors of the turtles masks as like the like 4 colors, but there was no rhyme or reason of like why when they would show specific ones. So I would always try and like piece together like, oh, that's like definitely like the Raphael scene, but I'm like, but how? Like I don't get it. Like I was really confused by it. They really shouldn't play games with children like that, you know. That scene though always made me want pizza super bad because that cheese looks fucking crazy.
What are you talking about? What scene?
The opening.
I'm missing the thing about the headband somehow.
Oh, the credits, the colors of the text.
Oh, gotcha.
It's like red, orange, purple, and blue.
See, I didn't pick up on that. It's very subtle.
It's not that subtle. It's pretty blatant.
Very masterfully done, like opening credit sequence.
I liked it.
Yeah, so you went like straight from the Pizzatopia to like the pizza delivery kid / karate master.
Kino.
Yeah, which is
Slash
probably the
Surf
most
Ninja.
like interesting thing to talk about in this movie is Ernie Reyes Jr.
Yeah, Ernie Reyes Jr. Surf Ninja Supreme has so much charisma. What?
Was he in Surf Ninjas?
He was the Surf Ninja. He was the older brother.
He also played Donatello. Well, he was Donatello's fight double in the first Ninja Turtles movie. Like he was the
was
one
he?
doing the fighting. And
Donatello was a
liked him
stacked fucking talent in that first movie, dude.
they liked him so much that they actually created this role for him in the sequel, supposedly.
Wow.
I believe it. I mean, they saw a star, and they're like, what are we doing having this star underneath this fucking mask?
He steals the show.
Yeah,
He
he
does
really
totally.
does. It's weird to open your Ninja Turtles movie with like a different person doing karate. Like,
But also, like, before he does the karate, he goes and calls those girls fat on the side of the road.
yeah. Like the
He
very
body
first thing
shames
you learn
them.
about him is that he hates fat ladies.
And he has a great mullet.
Well, that was pretty immediately obvious.
Who do you think's a better pizza delivery person, him or Mookie? Do the right thing.
I think he was pretty good because he thwarted a
Yeah.
robbery in the course of delivering pizza.
He started to thwart it, and then he was tossed into a trash can for the rest of it.
Yeah, he was able to beat up a lot of grown men that were, like, hired thugs, but he was, like, he was thwarted by just being wrapped up in a sheet and put in a dumpster or whatever.
Turtles were like upset at him stealing their glory, so they just tossed him aside, and then like did wacky tricks to beat the robbers.
Can
there was
we
a lot of
talk
robbery.
about that robbery for a second?
Yes, please. It was like an assault on this mall or whatever we're at.
Yeah, there's about 1,000 white men robbing this mall very leisurely, just sort of carrying boxes around, not loading them into trucks or anything, just kind of moving them from one place to another. And about 1 box per 3 goons on average.
I'm not sure exactly
very
either
strange.
what they were stealing. It was just kind of like
No.
we have
Whatever.
It
merchandise.
looked like they were doing a stock take or something, you
You know
know?
what? Actually, maybe those guys weren't actually stealing because none of the stores were like closed down. All of them were open. Maybe they were like like the overnight stocking guys.
No, I think you guys are just making excuses. Those guys were hardened criminals.
Hardened criminals all wearing their like button-up shirts with like the top button undone.
That was a style. Jerry Seinfeld was wearing that.
Yeah, all the criminals in this movie kind of look like Joey or Chandler from Friends. It was very refreshing, actually, to see that. Like, just all, you know.
In the first movie, there was a lot of like punk kids. Remember, like
That's
they were
right.
like, on skateboards and like they were like stealing Walkmans and stuff.
Yeah.
And TVs. In this movie, they're just like stealing empty boxes with nothing written on them, and like they're all pretty like they all grew up. They went corporate. they got high-waisted acid wash jeans and like pullover polos, and like I think that's great personally. They've really committed themselves to owning a business and not just being a bunch of like petty goons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This movie is like a social commentary.
It was the dream of the '90s, honestly, at work. But the Turtles come in and they just kind of like make jokes and humiliate them one by one. It's kind of fucked up.
Yeah. There's a weird thing in this movie where the Turtles just do wacky bits, and the criminals just kind of like stand there in stunned like silence, like and allow them to do it.
Yeah, the first one didn't really do that, right? The first one they did like fight and.
I haven't seen it in a while.
So apparently, like what happened was there was complaints from parents and whatnot that the first movie was too violent. So in this one, they made the decision that the Turtles wouldn't use their weapons basically at all for like the whole movie.
Yeah.
Except for Donatello uses his a lot. And he's always making this pool cue gesture that annoyed the shit out of me. Like, we get it. It's like a pool stick. But like you don't need to
the body language. That was his thing,
Well, they got rid of Keno. I don't think Ernie Reyes Jr. would not have kept making that gesture. Of all the ones to ban, though, having
Donatello,
the one with the giant stick, I feel like is the one that you maybe shouldn't have had be the one that was allowed to keep using weapons, because nobody has access to swords, but everybody has access to giant fucking sticks.
Right, but that one's like considerably less dangerous.
I don't know.
You don't know a sword versus a stick.
Yeah, but again, nobody has swords. Everybody has fucking sticks. You see what I'm saying?
It's I thought it was funny that when we watched it, we also noted how unfunny Donatello was, and then I found out in doing research that the guy that played him went on to become a stand-up comedian.
Oh, did he? Like after this, not before it?
Yeah, no, afterwards.
Like, he didn't have a calling yet. He did this movie and was like, you know what? I was really funny.
Pretty damn funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, his resume, Ninja Turtle / stand-up comedian.
That'd be a great, like,
pretty unique CV,
That'd be a great LinkedIn account.
Yeah, well, I don't know. He was like just as wacky as the rest of them. It's just that when they were like back home doing their little like not even catchphrases, just random words they were spewing, and they were just like, "Oh, Donatello."
Well, because they would all like know the cool things to say, and he'd be like the uncool one that says something uncool. And so like, oh my god,
not like the rest of them. Yeah.
It's like cringeworthy. Well, they're like radical, cowabunga, tubular. He'd be like ostentatious, and they'd be like, "Oh fuck, he fucked it up. We were doing a bit, and he fucked up the bit." Tamra, you should know more than anybody what it's like to fuck up a bit, like, and how uncool it is. Whenever we're talking and like we have a bit going, like a solid bit, somebody ruins it. It's like it derails the bit, and that's what Donatello was doing over and over again.
See,
I feel like they dumbed down Donatello in this movie. Like he was like a science guy.
Yeah.
And in this movie, he was like a fucking idiot. Like it's like a clown, a buffoon.
Well, they were all clowns.
Yeah. They did kind of like all lose their personality traits in this movie, except Raphael was still kind of like an asshole, but aside from that, they were just kind of like the same person.
Leonardo was more of a square, though.
They're differentiated by their different regional New York accents.
I don't know enough about New York
grew up
accents
in the same
to
place.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about New York accents to like know that, but like Michelangelo, that's not a New York accent.
I thought maybe Raphael's the only one.
Got like a California accent for some reason.
Because he's radical.
He sounds like you, Ramon.
Oh.
Just kidding. It's California, you know. Yeah. Should we talk about April's giant apartment?
Well, one more thing about Michelangelo. I think we noted this during the movie. Like, really, they really missed the boat with the casting of that voice actor. Because we were talking about how amazing it would be if they cast Pauly Shore instead.
Well.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
What, you don't want
feel like it's more your thing.
Tamra wants no part of that. Yeah.
Well, Nick and I were on board.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
Pauly Shore was like top of his game. Maybe they couldn't afford him, but he had the charisma to
he
pull
was
that
a
off.
big star.
They did lose Corey Feldman.
Should we use this opportunity to let the cat out of the bag and pitch our project?
Yeah, for sure. So Nick and I, as we were watching this movie, we realized that we're wasting our talents making comics about police brutality, etc., etc. And what we need to make comics about is the meeting of the Ninja Turtles and Encino Man.
Crossover.
Yeah, the crossover of the century. Yeah.
Cool.
What?
It's called.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Drop the title on him.
Right.
Wait. I need a drum roll, Tamra. Can you give us a drum roll?
You do it.
Me do the drum roll?
No, you do that. You can do the
I
name.
thought Nick was our sound guy.
Nick, can you do a drum roll for me?
No.
Alright.
I should have one queued up. I need like a soundboard.
Yeah, everyone just imagine.
Can you at least like do like a gasp when I tell you the name of it? That way it sounds like holy shit.
Oh, I can do that.
Alright. Like check it out. The name of our crossover, our fan comic, is gonna be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle X Encino Man : wait for it, Wheezin' the Ooze. Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
I feel.
Yeah, well, I think he missed the gasp and he went straight to asphyxiation. but
I did the. Never mind. I can't think what it's called.
Dude, how amazing would that comic be though? Because you have.
Yeah, it writes itself.
It does write itself. Like I feel like they meet when, like those three maybe take a trip, like a school field trip to New York City, right? And
yeah, the Big
of
Apple.
Of course, Stoney, like at the Museum of Modern History, like kind of wanders off, and they go find him, and he wanders out into the road or whatever, and he sees the turtles, and at first they fight, but then when they all group up together and they realize there's a common enemy, when that what's that fucking asshole's name?
What?
From Encino Man or from Ninja Turtles?
Yeah,
Shredder.
Yeah. Yeah, like he tries to do something to link some sort of science, freak against nature, and then they have to team up to fight him,
Yeah, I don't even know that they would fight upon meeting. I feel like he would just be immediately chill with them, like just kind of feeling their whole vibe they got about eating pizza and kind of just hanging out,
Yeah, but what if he runs into Raphael first?
That could be a different story.
Yeah, definitely a problem. Because Raphael doesn't get along with anybody upon first meeting.
So how does the Encino Man factor into this story, do you think?
What do you mean?
The caveman, like, what's his role?
That's who I'm talking about. That's who gets lost at... Isn't his name Stone? Oh, Link.
I thought you were talking about Pauly Shore's... I thought you were talking about Pauly Shore's character.
I said his character. I said Stoney. I meant Link. Well, it's fucked up that they named him Stoney because I would think Stone Age, but... Yeah, Link, like the missing link.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Because, like, really, there's, like, kind of... Like, there's no one-to-one comparison with him and the Turtles. Obviously, Sean Astin's character is a lot like Leonardo, and Pauly Shore is a lot like Michelangelo. But I don't really know where Link fits in,
Yeah. He's more maybe like a Master Splinter kind of character.
No way.
Just kidding.
He's not wise at all. What are you talking about? So, anyways, that's the comic. Tamra, will you
So make sure you buy it when it comes out. It's going to be a good book.
Tamra, will you color it for us or no?
We'll see what happens.
If we draw, will you color at least the cover for us?
We'll see if I have some room in the schedule. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought you were about the movement, but I guess not. I thought you were committed to making great comics
for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they will have their different weapons, Do that. You guys got it. You guys sound like you have this under control. Ramon's a colorist.
That's true. Actually, Nick, I
True.
ordered some deleter paper. It might be a good chance to use it on that.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
serious. I might make this fucking comic. Daniel
The
Warren
one shot.
Johnson's out there thinking he's the only one that can make these little fan comics, bro. I'm gonna do this, and people are gonna be blown away. Like, why did he waste his time? They're gonna think this is great. They're gonna think again. Why did he waste so much goddamn time on this? It's gonna be beautiful. All right.
I
so
could see
anyways,
myself reading it. I used to love one of my favorite comics growing up was Archie meets the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it was just like the turtles go to Riverdale and just hang out. You know, there was really like not much to it, but I was really into it.
that might be a fun way to make that book. Is not even have like a real story, just have them like really just hanging out at like like Link's on the Radmobile. The turtles come in, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely more of a turtle story than an Encino Man story. I can't really remember the plot of that too well.
Yeah.
Well, this would be like expanded universe stuff for Encino Man.
Yeah,
Like, there's only one movie. There's a lot of
Right.
mythology you can explore after
yeah,
what we see in that. you
yeah.
know?
If there was ever a universe that needed expanding, it was definitely that one.
What if I
it's a
just cut out the
rich-
turtles and I just do straight Encino Man comic? Like,
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't be so bad. You could tell a story of like the day before they find Link. You know, go the other way, like
Oh,
go
shit.
the
it's like a
prequel.
real low key Sean Astin is just real depressed
It's a
because
day in the life.
Yeah, slice of life Sean Astin story from Encino Man.
So like you read that comic and then you watch the movie.
Whoa,
It's a companion piece.
Stoney just doing bong grips and stuff,
Yeah,
showing his horrible family life because he had one. Remember, like he was talking about like his family
Yeah.
doesn't make food and shit. Why are we talking about Encino Man?
Oh no, that's why.
I feel like we probably have stuff to talk about turtles still.
Yeah,
Encino
probably.
Man is so captivating.
I feel like they just go together so well. You know.
No, I didn't want to. Yeah.
It's true. Anyways,
Where were we?
So yeah, I was going to talk about April's enormous apartment.
Yeah. It was
April
Basically a house.
is
Yeah.
baller in this movie, dude. April has
She's
the
balling
nicest,
big time.
She has the nicest house. She's eating pizza on the reg for like 5 people on the reg. She's doing news reports live on the reg, important news reports. You're saying not national. I think it must be at least tri-state area.
So
It's
for
big.
that house,
It's a big market.
It's at least, yeah.
And her clothes are fucking amazing. She has cashmere sweaters on her fucking shoulders. Doesn't even put them on. It's cold out. She doesn't even put them on because she's got a different jacket. She just wants to stunt on these fucking turtles. I got cashmere, motherfuckers. Were you not as enamored by her wardrobe?
I didn't really pay that much attention. I was more stuck on her home and how it had been ruined by the turtles and just trash everywhere and
You think that house
A
smells,
giant
right?
rat that lives there.
Giant
definitely
rat.
smelled. Yeah, not only is it full of trash, but it's full of giant turtle monsters and a rat.
Yeah, the rat would be the most odorous, I think.
Well, yeah, because the hair. I
Yeah.
feel like the turtles, they might have a weird
I've never been around a turtle. They already smell kind of weird, but just imagine
They smell kinda
giant
weird.
ones.
I feel like what's
The
that?
teenage turtle as well.
Oh yeah,
Extra
You know?
secretion of the glands, eh?
Body odor.
Sweat. Those turtles were kind of
Gross.
horny too. They were dropping turtle loads all over that fucking apartment. It's pretty gross.
Oh my god.
Dude, you remember when Michelangelo moves out, he fucking grabs his little poster, he's like, "Oh, I'll see you later," he kisses it and shit.
oh yeah. He's very flirty with April too. Later on, she's a little too okay with
Yeah.
it. They said not only are there turtle monsters, but they're teenagers, so underage turtle monsters.
Yeah. She should shut that down. That's
Yeah.
it's not okay.
She's the adult in this situation. She should really be, letting him down, letting him know.
I feel like they're not teenagers in this movie. I feel like they're a little bit. They're probably 18 years old.
They
Young
constantly establish that it was been 15 years since the ooze had been spilled. So
Oh,
it's-
never mind.
yeah. So,
Well, they are pretty buff though. They do act older than they are.
Yeah. Also, they act like complete fucking idiots the entire movie, so the fact that they are teenagers seems pretty believable.
So what you're saying is that April O'Neil wants to fuck Giant. This is
I'm not
this
saying.
is a pillar of the
Tamra.
community, a
Oh.
respected journalist, and you're saying she wants to fuck underage turtle monsters? That's crazy. That would be a huge scoop. Like, could you imagine that tabloid?
Yeah, it's pretty gross. I'm not saying that she wants to. I'm just saying that she humors it too much. She really should shut it down, like Nick said.
I feel like
Yeah,
she isn't
someone's
comfortable
got
by
to.
it, though, you know?
What's
It's like
that?
she is like, oh, yeah, I want, like... She's
When
pretty
he was
uncomfortable.
When he was on the phone with her, she was just smiling. It's like she loved it, you know?
Yeah, but it was like a nervous smile, like, oh my god, this fucking turtle's really, like, stroking it to me. It's gross.
Oh,
You didn't think so? You thought she was...
way to put that for sure. Yeah.
It's gross.
Yeah, maybe we should move on from this point.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
That horny little dog Michelangelo. Fucking disgusting.
They're in the apartment and they immediately just like start mocking Shredder's death from the previous movie where he was crushed to death, like, well, in a garbage compactor.
I felt like that Raphael move when he did that was a very me move because I feel like I am the type to like mock somebody's death and then like somebody walks in the room like, oh, that's not cool, you know? I'm constantly sticking my foot in my mouth.
Yeah, it's very cruel.
But rude.
Well, I guess that is keeping with his character. But then we find out pretty quickly that like Shredder isn't dead. He just like rises out of the garbage. He rebuilt his empire.
Yeah, he was just in the trash the whole time.
Yeah. I wonder how much time has passed between this movie and the previous one. It must be like pretty close afterwards.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's like months or anything.
Yeah.
So one thing, when you asked me what my favorite part of the movie was, I said the Pizza Utopia, but it's actually a close second to those when those they make those mutants that end up being babies.
Yeah.
And Shredder has the great line where he says, "Babies, they're babies."
Here's why I think you
That's
like
pretty
that line so
incredible.
much. You're a known Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. That's all you give a shit about. When we didn't watch Eraser tonight, you fucking threw a shit fit. And that's the closest we got to Arnold in this whole movie. Like, could you imagine Arnold delivering that line? It would have been gold.
No, it was more like a Soylent Green kind of like line, you know.
True.
That was incredible.
Yeah, it was a pretty good one.
So yeah, they make these mutants who end up being babies, which is problematic for them.
Yeah. Really, nobody or nothing in this movie does much of anything. They just fight the turtles a couple times, and then they birth themselves into like back to normal.
Yeah, and even the fighting is very like undramatic. It's just like they'll poke some guys in the eyes and give them, you know, like trip them over and put a pie in their face or whatever, and then then they dance, you know.
Yeah, they don't really fight so much as they just do bits, like to the guys.
Yeah, I love bits.
Like
Yeah.
They're great.
Like all their ninja training left them unprepared for like the comedy bits the turtles were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because constantly the turtles are getting like thrown through like walls and ceilings and like things are collapsing on them, and they kind of just like jump up and make a joke real quick, like, "Oh, that didn't hurt," and then they like go back to fighting. It's pretty weird. Like I never noticed that when I was younger. Like there really are no stakes in this movie at any point. Like even at the end where Super Shredder, like skipping ahead,
Yeah.
at the end of the movie, Shredder becomes like this giant mutant version of himself, and like all the turtles are like he's like wrecking this dock, so you'd think all's gonna fall on them, and they're like, "Oh no, we have hard shells, so we actually can't be hurt right now."
Yeah.
And it's like, and they float, so like as the big moment of like threat is happening, they tell the audience like, "Oh, don't worry about it, we're actually fine. Like this is gonna turn out bad for him, but we're cool." It's strange. But that's comforting for like a 5-year-old who probably was like a little turned off by the fact that that first movie was a lot of them moping around in bathtubs and like.
I was gonna say though, like if assuming like kids watch this, I was one of them, you know, that had already seen the first movie, you've already seen the Shredder crushed to death. Well, you think crushed to death in a garbage disposal. I feel like it's a lot like this is like a step down. Like you just knock some boards around and like it's like underneath them.
Oh yeah, everything in this movie, violence-wise, is a step down from the last movie.
I'm just saying, like, I don't think anyone would be traumatized if they got through the first movie okay,
I just think
They
they were
really
worried
should have
about that though.
decapitated Shredder.
I mean,
My
it
favorite part
extended
of the
so
movie.
far as
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that non-violence thing extended so far as they were trapped in a rope net, and Leonardo couldn't use the swords that he had on his back
Yeah.
to free them. That's how strict they were about not using any of the weapons or anything.
Yeah.
It's a strange move for sure. Like, why even have them on it except for like the toys probably sell better with weapons, but
Yeah.
Well,
my favorite
Sorry,
bit
you're
of the
saying your
movie, by the
favorite bit.
way. Yeah, my favorite bit was at one point in the movie, Donatello has an existential crisis. Like, because they discover the secret of the Ooze is actually that like it transforms things, like it mutates them.
Yeah.
And like when he talks to a scientist, the scientist is like, actually, there's nothing really special about you. You're just like turtles that were like mutated freaks. And it really fucks up Donatello, and I don't remember that happening before. But, like, he really has an issue with this.
He gets over it pretty fast, though, because it is dropped immediately after the scene. And it's just like, he thought they had some higher purpose or something, and he finds out, like, no, actually, we just spilled some ooze on some turtles. And like,
yeah, like, there was, like, a real, like, atheist kind of vibe to him, like, oh my god, there's no God. Like, we're not put on here for a purpose. And, like, Shredder, like, explains to him, like, yeah, that's fine. And he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And then but then, like, the next scene, I'm pretty sure they just go fight they just go, like, find Raphael or something. Is he split off at this point? And they're just doing their goofy bits like normal. So he's, he bounces back. Like, he's upbeat. You
have to bury the pain in laughs, tears of a clown.
Yeah. A little bit of that, for sure.
That's a thing. That's a saying.
Oh, I know. I was agreeing with you.
Okay, good.
That's great. I'm glad you agree.
Okay, so one thing we did want to do was
Ooh, I know where we're going.
Ramon proposed during the movie, what if this movie was remade by Judd Apatow
instead of Michael Bay? Because here's my reasoning. Here's my reasoning. There's a lot of points in this movie where they could easily do ad-libs, but they don't. They just go with the first like joke and that was it. Like, what if the Apatow got in there and was like, no, do another one. Do another one. Because there, you know what I mean?
Is that what he does? Do another one.
Another one. He said another one. Yeah, haven't you ever seen the blooper reels for those fucking movies? They go on forever where they're just making like.
Oh yeah, but I mean, he gives suggestions and stuff. I don't think he just says another one. Do another one.
I mean, with the talented actors that he keeps around him, he could just say do another one. They would.
True.
Like on Parks and Rec too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was saying it would be great, and like Danny McBride as like Raphael would be like an amazing movie.
Who else could you see being in that film for each of the turtles?
I feel like
using kind of the Apatow kind of,
I feel like Paul Rudd as Donatello would be fire.
Yes, I actually wrote down Paul Rudd
as Donatello.
Not as Donatello, just in general. I feel like he's got a very Ninja Turtles vibe,
Seth Rogen as Michelangelo.
I have that down too.
Yeah. And then as Leonardo.
I'm gonna blow your mind with one of these though.
Oh my god. As Leonardo James Franco.
Not bad, yeah.
Yeah, you watch that movie, bro. I would watch that movie every fucking day of my life.
I would definitely watch that movie.
For sure. I mean, it might be a train wreck, but I'd still watch it all the time. I mean, I watched this one, and it's pretty bad.
Oh, I thought you were a big fan of it.
No, I'm a big fan of it, but I'm not going to say it's a great movie.
Yeah.
I'm not ridiculous.
So I also had down Ken Jeong as Master Splinter.
Ooh. That's a fucking movie right there, dude. Speaking of weird racism in this movie.
Yeah.
Did it strike you guys as odd how Michelangelo was constantly doing like an Asian accent?
Yeah.
Yes.
as
A little
as
uncomfortable.
a ninja thing. It was weird,
Yeah.
Yeah, it
especially
was weird.
considering he was raised by Splinter. Like that's like it's kind of uncool.
Yeah, he did it a couple of times. It's a little odd, off-putting. Like I said, you could definitely sense like his unease when Splinter was giving him that talk like later on in the movie. He's just standing there, kind of like really would rather be anywhere else.
I don't like the idea of Michelangelo, the party dude, being like a violent, like a mean racist. You
A
know?
bigot.
Right. Yeah.
big-
Yeah.
I guess
a party bigot.
I guess it wasn't really.
Party's got to stop sometime.
Oh, God. I guess it wasn't really fair of us to say that like they didn't have distinct personalities because clearly Michelangelo was like a perverted racist like. So, yeah.
So
The only party he
Michelangelo,
cares about is the Nazi party.
Oh,
Michelangelo's definitely a perverted racist. He's a monster, dude. Nick, and this is the guy that we're
He is a
saying is the
monster.
closest to you. What does that say about you?
Well,
It's horrifying.
that was based on just his partying, his general like kind of party fun vibe. You know, not so much his monstrous racism.
right.
And Donatello obviously has a lot of depth to it because he did have that whole existential crisis thing happen.
As an existential crisis, sometimes he uses vaguely like next level vocabulary words that at least like to Ninja Turtle standards like are pretty like up there.
Right.
Raphael's kind of a shithead and runs away, and Leonardo has almost no personality.
Leonardo is actually like a black comedian's like white guy impression. You know what I mean? He's like so stiff and so corny. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
always like, why do
Right.
white guys walk like this? And that's like how Leonardo walks. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's crazy. Like he's such a like. If you're a kid, if your favorite turtle was Leonardo, don't ever talk to me again. Because that's crazy to be a fan of him.
Yeah.
Like, why would anybody like that guy? He's so unengaging.
I feel like those type of characters that get like a bad rap now, like looking back on them, you know, like as a kid, sure, but you look
Right.
at them, like, you know, they're the only ones that had like any kind of sense to them whatsoever.
But Leonardo doesn't in this movie. I agree with you on like Cyclops.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking of specifically. It's like people are really down on Cyclops, but it's like, you know, Cyclops is fine. Get over it.
No, Cyclops was great. Cyclops was like the best of them.
You know about the best? He was fine.
Because like he's better than Gambit. Gambit just was trying to look cool and sexy all the time.
He's
Fuck
the
him.
Raphael of the X-Men.
He's the what?
Him-
No. Wolverine was the fucking Raphael of the X-Men. That's crazy.
Well, there's more X-Men. They can weave in and out of this.
Yeah, it starts to get a little like tenuous when you start to just use the Ninja Turtle kind of template for every group.
I thought we established this already up front, Nick, that it's not.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not. It's actually a personality test, so it's like
Right.
You know what I
solid.
mean?
So maybe he's got Raph in there high, but maybe not as high as the Wolverine, you know?
I would say for like him, it goes probably Gambit. It's like Raphael then Michelangelo, whereas
Well, Beast is Donatello, right?
yeah, but like Wolverine is like Raphael then Leonardo because he has that leadership quality, like that leadership strain to
You
him.
know
You know?
who's
That's a
you know
very
who is Michelangelo?
Who's that?
Iceman.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man of the X-Men.
He's the Spider-Man of the X-Men, the Michelangelo of the X-Men.
Well, because he's always just wisecracking, or he was. I don't know if he's still like that.
Well, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it's a slang.
I think we're all like really thinking about the cartoon anyway.
Yeah, the cartoon's the only thing that matters. I don't even know
Yeah, it's
why
canon.
we would like humor any other form of media with the fucking X-Men.
Didn't you draw the X-Men, Ramon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
The
let's
90s
move on.
animated cartoon and E is for Extinction. Those are like the pinnacle
Yeah,
of like,
those are the two. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the axis that world spins around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's all that matters to me.
So, at this point, do we want to thank our sponsor?
Oh
Should we
yeah.
give a shout out? Should we give a shout out
yeah.
to Mexicana
I
Salsa?
updated my profile picture so it's more in keeping with our sponsorship. TBD.
TBD. Like, here's the thing:
So-
Mexicana salsa. We know you're listening.
Yeah.
We had one viewer earlier. They were stoked on the podcast, and I know it's because they were in Mexicana salsa headquarters, burning the midnight oil, listening to the show, thinking,
Oh, Nightcat, yeah.
yeah, of course Mexicana salsa. There are a bunch of Nightcats over there, so they're thinking, how do we get these people in the fold? How do we get them to let everybody know that when you go to the grocery store, look in your salsa aisle, look in the refrigerated salsa aisle, and get
Yeah.
the Mexicana salsa,
Absolutely.
the
You
best
should have a
salsa.
Get yourself a stack like I got.
You should get a full stack.
Specifically the hot one.
The hot one is where it's at. I mean, look, everyone's got their own taste.
I got a tub of the mild one, and it was okay, but it's like it's kind of just like soup, you know.
You know, if you like cold tomato soup, that's a good one. But
I filled my belly on that shit because I bought a giant fucking tub of it on accident.
yeah, like, but you know, like
So-
their own. Mine is the hot. That's what I prefer. But you know, they got their mild. They got their
I
meat.
had
They've got their peach mango. They got their
had
canteen
a
style. There's all sorts of options.
whoa. You're dropping a lot of salsa science on these dweebs right now.
Well, that's our
salsa
sponsor.
talk.
It's our beloved sponsor, eh?
Yeah.
Our official, unofficial sponsor.
So if you want to take your life to the next level, the next
Oh.
Brian level,
That was a Splinter level pause.
if you want to take your life to the next level, the next Brian level, do yourself a favor. You know what I mean? Go to the grocery store and get Mexicana salsa.
Please
You
do.
won't be sorry.
Absolutely.
That's our advertising read.
Yeah.
So, anyways, back to this movie.
That's the end of the copy.
That was actually all scripted by Mexicana salsa. They have to keep it low key. Anyways, I feel like we'd be remiss to not bring up Vanilla Ice dropping bars in this fucking movie.
That's where I wanted to take us.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Go there. The
That was-
ice, the Iceman himself.
Whoa. Another Iceman.
It all comes full circle.
Yeah.
I was looking for. Oh yeah, I was
Next theory corner revisited.
Nick's Theory Corner revisited.
Uh-oh.
You're thinking Bobby Drake is somehow related to Robert Van Winkle. Bobby Van
thinking-
Winkle.
Oh.
Bobby Van Winkle.
Oh, there was that movie.
Fuck.
Coolest Ice.
Brr, 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 brr.
There was also Cool Runnings. Who
Cool
runs?
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice, the Running Man.
Whoa.
Huge dance. Huge dance for Vanilla Ice. Major dance.
Oh.
So
Fucking
Vanilla
hell.
Ice is in this movie
Um,
because he's just doing a gig right next door to a
Yeah.
giant warehouse.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
A giant junkyard warehouse layer of
It
massive.
was in the cool
Of,
part of
the
town,
center.
you know.
Yeah. They were on the shore, you know, where all the coolest parties are.
Well, I feel like that could be like a dock, like warehouse kind of situation.
Yeah.
It's confusing the geography of this movie, but
He sees these monsters fighting, and instead he's not scared. He doesn't run away. He's just like he takes that as an opportunity.
It's
to
Vanilla
off-
Ice you're
off the
talking
top
about,
of
yeah,
his
Tamra.
head, like just a brilliant like rap.
Vanilla Ice stared down Suge Knight and said,
It's true.
"I don't give a shit about you, Suge Knight. You could hang me off this balcony. I'm not going to compromise my artistic vision. I'm not gonna be a coward, you know." So yeah, why would he
but
care
yeah.
about the Shredder or Tokar and Razor?
Yeah.
Tokar and Razor, by the way, get fucked up in this movie. They're babies, and the turtles beat the living shit out of them and like suffocate them
Yeah,
with
so-
fumes. It's crazy.
Yeah, their first fight, like the one they just fight them, and the one falls into a manhole and they tickle his toes. You know, it's not very intimidating.
So,
Monsters.
Like we were talking about the sort of like with the weapons thing and the kind of like, you know, making this movie way less violent and stuff. They originally wanted to use Bebop and Rocksteady, but then they said no, we're gonna have these Tokar and Razor or whatever, and they're just gonna be babies. Like they're not gonna be very scary because they'll just be babies, you know. It's pretty weird.
Yeah, especially because they made them very like monstrous looking. Like,
Yeah.
I think what happened was they realized this is a babies movie. This is a movie for babies. I think we were all babies when we watched it, right?
yeah,
So
Pretty much.
they were like, look, well, why would we have them fight real threats? Why would we have them deal with real life problems?
Yeah.
Why would we, like, it just makes perfect sense. It's like when Batman Forever came out. Like, after Batman Returns, they needed to fucking change the direction of that fucking movie. I think it was a mess.
You're out of your mind. Batman Returns is the best Batman movie?
Batman Returns is actually the worst Batman movie. Batman Forever is the best Batman movie.
You got that backwards.
No, I got it perfectly straight, Tamra. Batman Forever is way better.
You're incorrect.
No. Nick, break the tie here.
I feel like Batman and Robin is the greatest Batman movie.
That's just because that's Arnold Schwarzenegger, you fucking asshole.
Yeah, the most puns per minute of any of the Batman movies.
Most BBC puns per capita.
Nick, I will say this, for as far as entertainment value, I do think Batman and Robin over Batman Forever for sure.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Batman Returns is a humorless acid shit fest.
Batman Returns is humorless. Have you seen Batman Returns? Are you fucking kidding me?
It's
that movie
humorless.
is just one giant silly thing after another. There's a bunch of fucking giant penguins with missiles on their backs that go to destroy the city.
But they're so dull and colorless about it.
Oh my god. You're out of your mind. I think colorless compared to Batman Forever, where the saturation on every scene was turned up 100%.
That was a note that I would have gave them, because I'm like, this other movie has zero color. Can we get all the color back in this fucking movie?
Oh, man.
That movie, Batman Forever, is shot more beautiful than Batman Returns. Guaranteed. Are you serious?
Which is the one where he fights that neon gang?
That's Batman
They're
Forever.
all glow in the dark.
It's Batman Forever.
Okay, that's a pretty good one. Yeah.
Incorrect. Anyway, let's move on. We're not talking about Batman Forever.
Yeah, 'cause
No, I'm sure we will talk about that.
Big time. Oh yeah, we'll definitely talk about Batman Forever. Don't you worry about that, Tamra.
We were
That is
talking
on the
about
rocket docket.
talking about Bobby Van Winkle.
Yeah.
And the ninja rap.
Yeah. His freestyle.
He just freestyled like it was nothing.
And a dance that he just kind of comes up with and teaches the others with an effortless ease. See, he's definitely an MLDR. First party, then leadership, then he's got a bit of cerebral,
Yeah.
And then obviously at the end he's not rude at all.
Yeah.
He's very pleasant to be around, even though word to your mother is kind of a rude thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
To say to somebody,
Yeah.
Yeah, the ninja rap also introduced me to this man by the name of Earthquake, who I thought it was odd in the credits where he plays the DJ in the movie and it was just credited as Earthquake. No names necessary. Everybody knows who DJ Earthquake is.
Yeah.
So I looked him up, and he wrote the ninja rap, and he wrote Ice Ice Baby.
Oh.
He actually wrote most of Vanilla Ice's music.
Earthquake.
He was saying that when he met Vanilla Ice, he was mostly just a dancer. He wasn't a rapper or anything, but he was just really good at dancing. So they kind of got together to be like, hey, between us we can kind of do this thing.
Yeah.
But what can you say about the ninja rap? I mean, it's just an anthem of a generation.
Absolutely. It really was. Sadly, embarrassing to say now, but yeah.
This is crazy. I looked up some of the voices, and Frank Welker was Tokar and Razor. Frank Welker of Garfield.
Come on. Frank Welker of everything.
Was he in Ninja Turtles as well?
I don't know. He's probably on episodes of that. He's an extremely prolific voice actor. He does every weird voice, every weird little monster sound. That's what the Token Raja is about. He does some real voices too. He did.
That's right.
Megatron from Transformers.
Yeah.
He's Fred from Scooby Doo since for fucking ever. But yeah, mostly he makes weird noises for a living.
Garfield too, though. Huge.
Yeah, Garfield.
Major part. What?
It's not him.
He's doing it big, eh? He's going big.
Because the guy that does Garfield is the fake Bill Murray guy.
He says Garfield in Garfield Gets Real, Garfield's Fun Fest, Garfield's Pet Force, The Garfield Show.
Oh. This must have been later.
Yeah. This is during the big Garfield resurgence.
Well, there's an 80s Garfield where they had the Bill Murray guy. which is
They
why
got Bill Murray.
when Bill Murray ended up doing Garfield in the movie. Because it was the guy that did Bill Murray from Ghostbusters, was the same guy that did Garfield, and then the Garfield movie got Bill Murray.
Speaking of Garfield and the Turtles, did you guys ever see that school cartoon about not doing drugs? And it was like the kid like hangs out with all of his favorite cartoon characters, and he does drugs and he like fucking loses his shit.
I know of it, but I never saw it.
Oh, we used to watch it in like school.
Sounds amazing though.
Yeah, Garfield's in it, and so is Michelangelo.
Aren't there there's just like a lot of different 80s cartoons in it?
Yeah.
Pretty
I
cool.
keep forgetting that we're live, and I was just like looking at Twitter, and I was gonna just talk about other things, and then I'm like, oh wait a minute, we're actually doing a show.
Gotta keep on track, Nick.
Yeah, Nick, come on.
Yeah.
Get your head out of your ass.
No, I mean I'm right there with you guys, but I was about to interject with some other like random off-topic.
Well, what is it?
things,
What's
but
going on
I won't.
Twitter?
Yeah, come on.
Well,
That's
like,
okay,
let's not distract you.
It's so
What's going
important,
on? Yeah,
You know what it is. You know, we're just gonna
It's
tell
fine.
you.
it's clear you care
No,
a lot
no,
about
it's
Twitter. What's
fine.
going on
It's
Twitter?
quite alright.
No,
You know,
just
No,
tell
no,
us.
it's
At this
quite
point, it's
fine.
weird for you not to tell us what's going on.
No, yeah, it doesn't matter.
All right.
All right. Fine, Nick.
My whole point was just that I keep forgetting we're live.
Sorry.
So, like the first movie, the second film received generally mixed or negative reviews from critics. 33% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well,
With the consensus, not only is the movie's juvenile dialogue unbearable for adults, but the Turtles' dopey and casual attitude towards physical violence makes them poor kids' role models.
True.
What Leonardo
Terrible role
motherfucker
models.
wrote that? You know what I mean?
I will say
Fucking
that,
loser,
that
dude.
is a weird criticism, considering that they barely do any violence at all. They just like do silly little bits.
Like, oh, what if we grab this giant stick and trip somebody?
Yeah.
Or like, what if I hit somebody with a yo-yo? Come on,
Yeah, I
get out
know.
of here.
It's pretty silly.
Did any of you guys take karate classes at all when you were younger?
One
Yes,
of my
several
most
times.
one of my most hated memories
Whoa.
of my parents is when they asked me if I wanted to be in karate, and I was like, yeah, of course, because it was like the 80s or early 90s, and I was a child.
Everybody,
So
yeah.
And then they never signed me up. So,
They just asked you and they were like, haha, what a loser.
gotcha.
If
Well-
you were a kid in the 80s/90s and you didn't want to be in karate and hockey, what was wrong with you?
I didn't care
That
about
was
hockey.
every cool. Hockey was massively cool.
Maybe it's a different thing in California. I don't know.
Seriously? Mighty Ducks?
Yeah, hockey's not big here really. Like
Yeah. Well,
it
also
is a
you're
little, it is a little bit, but not as much as over there.
but you're also younger, so I feel like Mighty Ducks was more of a thing when you were a kid then. Like, I was still young when Mighty Ducks came out, but it wasn't like the same thing. It wasn't karate level. Like the fucking 80s and 90s were all like ninjas and karates, and like that's what it was all about.
Yeah, it
There was
really
a lot of
was.
hockey going
I
on.
wonder where that all stems from. That like 80s martial arts, American martial arts like thing.
I think what happened was Bruce Lee was massive, right?
Yeah.
And then when he kind of went away,
Yeah, you
like
got
all the white guys kind of rose in his stead, like Chuck Norris and all those kind of
Okay.
dudes. So then they probably were like, "Oh, you can be like that, you know? You just gotta take karate classes." All the strip malls that are now vape shops just opened up like taekwondo classes and shit.
Yeah. Dojos. Yeah.
Yeah, dojos, right?
former dojos.
Former dojos now.
I feel like Ramon, you probably like just missed it. Like you were still on the tail end of the Turtles, but like, 'cause Nick, you're what, like a few years younger than me, or a couple years younger?
Whoa! I was full on with the Turtles. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying that like the Turtles were fucking everything when I was growing up. Like it was just.
Yeah.
Tamra,
same.
did you not hear when I said that I was at Easter dressed like a fucking Ninja Turtle? what the fuck?
I'm just saying. I'm not trying to like say you didn't like the Turtles. I'm just saying, you know, like you're 5 years later. It's already dying down by then. Like it's in reruns. It's not like on the air, you know.
I had an uncle, or I have an uncle that's like a few years older than me, so it didn't matter if I didn't like it. By the time I was like 3 years old, I was a Ninja Turtle guy.
Yeah.
Through and through. That's it. End
Yeah.
of story. The
Let's not
end.
take your love away. It's fine.
You're trying to say, listen, Ramon doesn't actually like the Turtles.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm
Bitch.
He's a poser.
Yeah,
Damn.
you're calling me a poser?
Yeah.
You're calling me a Teenage Mutant Ninja poser?
Yeah. That's my exact words. Yeah,
That's fucked up.
you got me.
Oh, one quick thing. Hacking watch. In
What?
this movie,
Hack the
there
planet.
is hacking. Because I want to know every time there
Yeah,
is hacking
Donatello
in the
does hack
movies.
the planet. Yeah.
He tries to hack the planet, and he fails miserably. He crashes the mainframe, and that's it.
Yeah, they needed
Yeah,
Donatello.
you don't want to do that when you're hacking. Yeah.
They needed Donatello to interpret the screen because it's like a bunch of canisters said like I don't remember disposed or something, and then one was like active in giant text that was bigger than everything else. I think
And
it's
they're
just
like,
really the
oh.
other turtles can't read.
It's like, oh, I think this one is active.
Another, it's not turtles related, but it is hacking related. I was watching The Strain recently, and there's a big bit in the first season where they hire a hacker to make the internet stop working.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I mean, you'd have to go pretty deep into the mainframe to pull something like that off, eh? That's a righteous.
Yeah.
That's a righteous hack.
It was a righteous hack. She hacked the world. And later in the show, there's the same thing. I can't remember if it was you or Ramon that was talking about it, where they have it in all the hacking things, where they cut into a broadcast and they have him do like the emergency
Yeah,
broadcast.
listen up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Where they warn them all about the vampires. It was fucking.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
my thing. Is like
It's fucking crazy
no
because
one's
it
gonna
wasn't
pay
set in the 90s.
attention.
Like it's a modern day thing, and
It's funny
like,
how in the 90s, like, hacking was, hey, everybody, we're going to wake up the sheeple's minds and tell you about the revolution. But now it's like they hack
Corporations.
Leslie Jones's website and just post pictures of her naked.
Yeah,
And, like,
I know.
and, like,
It's really
gorilla-
sad.
It's like, they're really doing a great disservice to hacking, like, as a whole.
I feel like that's against the hacker's code.
But listen, hackers, if you're listening to this, obviously no disrespect. I admire what you do. That goes without saying. Huge fan of hacking.
Just in general.
Just in general. It's like, yeah, just as a hobby to have.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, the Turtles movie, I'm honestly like, look, out of 7, which is what we grade all things on, I'm probably gonna give it like a 5.
Oh my god.
What? What are you gonna give it?
Am I gonna give it
That's not that high.
No, it's not that
I
high.
you liked it.
5 out of
I
7?
do like it. A 5 out of 7 is pretty high, though, Nick.
Yeah, it's pretty high. Yeah.
5 out of 7 means better than average.
Yeah.
Like, you put it up against most movies for children, and it, like, ranks pretty high in my mind.
Yeah.
Like, not as high as, like, Ratatouille, but higher than,
Well, it's
say,
no
Cars
Ratatouille.
2.
Although it did have a mutant rat in it.
True. They were both rats. Did everyone like gawk at that one? Like also.
Yeah,
Like,
they
it's
did,
not-
you know.
They did, yeah.
In this movie, everybody definitely gawks at Splinter. Like,
Yeah.
they'll be hanging out with the Turtles, seeing all this fucked up shit, and they'll see Master Splinter, and they're like,
Yeah.
it's pretty
You just
weird.
can't deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the scientist David Warner, like I don't remember the scientist's name, but like the actor David Warner, like right after seeing and creating Toka and Razar, like and the turtles fighting, he sees Splinter and he's just like slack-jawed, like staring at him. Like I don't know what it was so much about him. Like
I think it's more of like the Zen attitude of the rat more than just the rat itself. You feel me?
The race thing,
like-
maybe.
It's a race. Yeah, it's like it's an Asian rat.
yes,
You know what the most beautiful thing about this movie is, by the way? The creators of this independent comic got so fucking paid out. Can you imagine what the royalties look like on any of their shit?
can't. Yeah,
Those dudes, Eastman and Laird, must be beyond rich.
yeah,
Like, they must laugh when they see like how much money Todd McFarlane has. Or like the Walking Dead money. They're like, Walking Dead money, yeah.
yeah,
Like I think we hit that about like 20 years ago.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Build an empire on a parody comic.
They could not draw. Well,
Yeah.
hey, now you're giving me hope to do my Encino Man thing.
Oh, it's a parody. I thought it was like a genuine like tribute.
In a way, it's a parody. In a way, it's a genuine. I think they were a little genuine in their thing too.
What's that?
I think they were a little genuine in the Turtles thing. I don't
Oh,
think
yeah,
it was all
sure.
a parody. But think about that. Those guys aren't like really talented artists or writers, and they have a fucking global empire. It's crazy. That's fucking nuts. I'm sure there are people that didn't even know the Turtles came from comics.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
sure.
guaranteed. Yeah, for sure. I'm sure there's people that don't know that about like the X-Men. You know.
I don't know about that. I feel like you would have to.
Yeah, even if you didn't know, watching the movie kind of reminds you constantly at the opening.
I'm sure there are people that don't even know that Batman comes from a comic. You know? Nah. Anything
My
else on
rating
this
of this
movie?
movie,
Oh yeah.
my rating out of 7 is a 2.
Whoa. Whoa. Coming in way low.
Because, yeah, well, okay. So here's the
That
thing.
means it's barely
I think-
watchable. It's
Yeah,
like
the
a
reason
1 is
I went so
unwatchable.
low.
A 2 is like,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess you could watch it, but like, never do
So
that.
let me explain. Let me explain why I went so low.
Okay.
I was going to go around about a 3 or a 4, but the more I thought about it, they've taken out. So you compare this to Ninja Turtles 1. They took out all the violence completely and replaced it with slapstick, Three Stooges comedy.
It's hilarious.
There's just
comedy,
no.
It is funny.
There's no. There's just no. What's the word? Like
Tooth bite.
consequences to anything that happens in this movie. Like there's no jeopardy ever in this movie.
Yeah, but it's like a cartoon, though.
Yeah, but it's like Ninja Turtle. Comparing this to Ninja Turtles 1 is what makes me give it such a bad review. I just feel like it's a bit of a joke. It's a bit of a.
I grade everything
the
in its
Ninja
own
Turtles don't
vacuum.
have their personalities. I feel like they literally took out everything that is Ninja Turtles.
What?
And only on
There's
surface
literally
value.
Teenage
Only on
Mutant
surface value
Ninja
is it a
Turtles.
Ninja Turtles movie.
I mean, I'm gonna have to concur with Nick here. Like,
What?
too also. Like,
Whoa! I can't believe what I'm hearing.
my very first note I wrote when the turtles show up was turtles are immediately intolerable.
Whoa!
Show up, cracking the worst jokes. Just like immediately, like the body, like you said, their body language was good. It was like it did immediately impress upon me like how much I hated them. Like just
Whoa!
like right off the bat.
What about when Michelangelo grabs the 2 sausages and he says, "Cold cut bonga"? It's hilarious. You guys are dumb, dude.
No, it's,
I'm not so harsh on the jokes. It's more that the turtles didn't really have their. I mean, they each have pretty clear-cut personalities in the cartoon and stuff.
They
But
do
none
in
of
here
that.
too.
They just didn't bother with
Yes,
any
they
of
do.
that.
Absolutely, they do. You guys are wrong.
Anyway, it's a 2. It's a 2 from me. I would be hard pressed to recommend for somebody to watch it that had never seen it, unless they just wanted to have a good old laugh, you know.
I feel like it's like when we're talking about like quality, it's the 2. It's watchable as far as like getting some entertainment out of it.
You're like a 3 then.
No, see now you're trying to change what I rated it based on your own criteria. Sticking with the
That
2.
is your criteria, but okay.
Yeah.
If we're going by pure like entertainment value as far as like how stupid it is, I give it like maybe a 3 or a 4. All right, Ramon.
No, that's cool. I mean, you guys are wrong. Everybody's gonna listen to this and think, "Wow, these people are so wrong." But it's cool though. Any other notes you guys
Actually,
need to go over?
No, that's me. Just wondering if we should wrap it on
Yeah.
up.
Not really much else to say. Just yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you guys really killed the momentum of this one. I felt like we were on a good vibe, and then suddenly you're like, "It sucks. It's terrible." And I'm like, "Whoa, what?" I thought it was great.
Sorry.
How much? How much?
Look,
You know how
we're
much money?
just keeping it real, you know.
No.
You know how much money this movie made at the box office?
A lot. I'm
No.
sure.
Made $78 million on a
Is that
budget.
a lot back then?
I feel like that's a decent opening weekend now, so it's probably a lot back then.
Okay. Yeah.
But probably not enough to do like
I mean,
an
it was
immediate big sequel because they didn't. You know,
Yeah.
the budget was 25 mil. How much of that do you think went
I
to
feel like
Vanilla
almost-
Ice?
Yeah. I was gonna say almost none of that's on screen. Like
What?
a lot of the sets,
You're
a lot of the
fucking
sets
crazy.
are just like TV,
Terrible.
are like TV quality sets. There's that
Yeah.
stuff in New York. There's just like a
Oh
back
my
lot
God.
of like
That's my
of like
favorite
Universal
shit.
Studios or
That
whatever,
is one part
where the
that
bank just says bank.
yeah,
you know?
yeah. That's the part that I did want to bring up. Like that street scene was awesome. It looks like not even like a street, like a set that looks like it's set in New York. It's like a small town or something. Like they're fighting in this area, and it's just like public library, bank, cafe.
Yeah.
They didn't have.
Cafe is a New York institution. What the fuck are you talking about?
They didn't even bother to give them like made up names. They're just like whatever the place is, it's that.
Okay, so in just to give you some context, the first Ninja Turtles movie was made on a budget of $13.5 million,
Yeah.
and it made $201.9 million
Oh my
dollars.
god.
So I guess it's fair to say that
It's
movie wasn't
it's a big
successful
profit.
compared to the first one.
Safe to say that.
Needless to say, it wasn't nearly as hot. Maybe it's because they replaced Casey Jones, an iconic character, with Kino.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because the Turtles were never once like actually doing ninja shit. Like every time they would, when they
Oh my
did sneak
God.
around, they're like, "Oh, this is great spy stuff."
Yeah.
And then when they actually like started like sneaking around, they would go, "We're here."
Yeah. Not only did they not like, yeah, they're ninjas and they're like, this is the spy stuff. They're sneaking into the lab. They walk into the lab, just fucking knocking shit around and making the same terrible jokes in every room they walk into. I think they're missing out on the subtlety of, what they're
The
trying to do.
more you talk about them, the more I love them. They're just bumbling idiots, like loud, obnoxious, bumbling idiots that are like.
Weird that you would relate to them.
Yeah, it's pretty strange.
Yeah. I don't know. What else is there to say? They suck. I hate them. It retroactively like ruins like the opinion I had of my childhood.
Okay, so Nick, you compare this to the first movie. Maybe it's more fair to compare it to the third movie.
I feel like the third movie's way.
Yeah,
worse.
I'm not sure if I've seen it.
The third movie's terrible.
The third movie is still worse than this
Yeah. That's a one. That's a hard one.
because there's nothing even like really to laugh at in that movie. It's just fucking dull.
No, I think they thought like the note on this one was, hey, the Turtles made a lot of jokes and people weren't really feeling that. Maybe no jokes, but also no violence.
Yeah.
So maybe like just have the Turtles stand around in like feudal Japan
Yeah.
and then do nothing.
Yeah. I
And
don't
they
even
did
know
it.
what happened. There's something like
They
there's a
accomplished
bell. There's
There's a little kid named Yoshi. I remember that because I was like, Yoshi.
I don't know why that's so distinctive because I remember that too. There's like a kid named Yoshi. There's a guy that is played by the same guy that plays Casey Jones, but he's not Casey Jones. That's in the past, but the Casey Jones is also in it.
All right.
It's very weird, Nick. They have a magic lantern that sends them to the past.
I feel like I probably have seen it, but I just don't remember it at all.
Yeah, well, you're fine.
All right then.
Don't need to dredge that.
On that note, on that sour note,
Oh,
I guess what?
no, it's okay.
Well, we don't have we don't have any kind of like any saying to like lead off on, so I don't know what we're gonna do.
Cowabunga.
Oh.
Uh,
I guess so.
was that a goodbye, Cowabunga?
Yeah, it's a greeting and a
Yeah.
farewell.
It's like that
Can
one
use it
thing.
however you like.
Aloha.
It's like aloha, yeah.
No, the other one, like the one that the Jewish people say. Shalom. Isn't that hello and goodbye?
I don't know.
Shalom. Cowabunga.
Okay. I don't understand your point or where this came from,
It's
but
hello and goodbye. It's the same shit.
okay.
I think. I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
Well, yeah, don't worry. We'll just.
The next movie, by the way, 21 million, made 42 million. Yikes.
Oh, damn. It
Still a profit.
doubled its investment, yeah.
Eastman and Laird were feeling it. They were like, "What happened? It was all so.
They had the
It was
toys.
all so perfect."
And I think,
Anyways,
they're taken care of.
goodbye, everyone.
All right.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thanks for listening.